Okay. All right. So you know how much I love Yelp. So I was, let's just say, doing some perusing. And I came across this review by James, because you know we love the name James on this podcast.
James.
Yes. James P. as in Paul.
Okay.
This is James' 1-star review of a restaurant here in LA, in Venice, actually, on Abbot Kinney, called De Buena Planta, which I think means like the good plant, would be my guess from my 4 years of Spanish. This is a 1-star review of De Buena Planta.
Okay.
I wanted to love the hell out of this plant-based eatery. I was absolutely misled by their plant-based claims. Plant-based eateries are popping up all over, and this place is masquerading as one while really being vegetarian. Call it what it is, plant-forward, eggs and lactose in the back. We arrived and were very excited. The place was beautiful. The staff seemed friendly. The drinks were great. The menu looked so great. Super excited for a new plant-based restaurant. We ordered. So excited. It was our first date night in months. Oh. After accidentally overhearing a server mention to a nearby table that they were a vegetarian restaurant, I panicked. What? Why didn't anyone tell us that? Was he wrong? It's vegan, right? I mean, they are plant-based after all. We just ordered, and I was already eating the guacamole. I was dying inside. OMG. The guacamole isn't vegan. They ruin it with cojita cheese. And not the vegan spoof kind you might find at actual vegan plant-based restaurants. Real cheese.
No.
In all my years, I've never hoped there would be cheese or any sort of... In all my years, I've never hoped there would be cheese or any sort on my guac. Am I alone here? No. Every plant-based restaurant in LA, Crossroads, Gracias Madre. Sorry, I have to read it as it lies. Every plant-based restaurant in LA, Crossroads, Gracias Madre, Veggie Grill, Plant Power, and Little Pine, to name a few, has started calling things what they are better known as in their normal form. But chicken isn't chicken, beef isn't beef, and cheese isn't really cheese. Well, at this self-proclaimed plant-based eatery, there is not only cheese in many dishes, there is also egg being used flagrantly. Then try to make so many efforts to be plant-based, expensive pecan chorizo, vegan fondito, impossible vegan nachos, etc. But they are really just hijacking the word. This is a gluten-free vegetarian restaurant. It is not plant-based. Eggs and cow pus are not plants.
What?
I know. They could edit the menu and be 100% vegan and claim steak among LA's best restaurants. Should I read that again?
Sure.
They could edit the menu and be 100% vegan and claim steak among LA's best restaurants. But this bait and switch isn't okay. We immediately modified our order with our server after realizing the vegetarian restaurant we were in, and then the Caesar salad was served to us with cheese. Not okay. They took that off our receipt, only to then char us the same price for the one without cheese. We had a lengthy convo with the server about the restaurant being misleading, to which we were told that there was an inner dialogue in the management as to what to call the restaurant. For them to then serve us a salad with cheese is like, okay. Sorry. For them to then serve us a salad with cheese is like, so not okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'm too sensitive. This was going to be a 4-star review initially, but the 1-star comes because this restaurant could kill anyone with an egg allergy and a hankering for churros. Oh, yes. The depths of deceit continue to grow. Despite the menu that I really inspected after the initial mistake, clearly noting the churros were vegan, my cemented mistrust for this place led me to confirm with the server, are the churros that we had been drooling over during our entire meal vegan, as stated in the menu? She was taken aback, unsure. She quickly disappeared to the kitchen, only to reappear moments later, stating that they were not vegan anymore. There was egg in them now. They just weren't working well without the egg. Update the menu. JFC. This is absolutely no okay. You can't write vegan on the menu and include eggs. This place is great if you want a vegetarian meal. If you're vegan and got duped into thinking it's plant-based, beware. They aren't interested in catering to or being honest with vegans here, so you best choose another place. After seeing numerous complaints, I'm sorry I didn't research this place deeper. The responses from management, the lack of attention to update menus with recipe changes, and the lack of attention to ensure our orders was fixed is unacceptable. They didn't even comp the cheesy guac. This place is beautiful, but poorly operated, and management is out of touch. Okay, just want to note that James has also included 4 photos. One of them is a reply, but not to their review. So it's a screenshot of a reply from another review, which I'll quickly read.
Okay.
Hi, Ado. Thank you for noting this, and we're listening. I promise almost every item except 2 on the menu has a vegan option to remove the dairy, which is why we believe we are plant-based. Plant-based or plant-forward eating patterns focus on foods primarily from plants. This includes not only fruits and vegetables, but also nuts, seeds, oils, whole grains, legumes, and beans. It doesn't mean that you are vegetarian or vegan and never eat meat or dairy. I understand where you're coming from, and we're doing better adjusting menus and honing in on our verbiage from servers so that everyone feels and knows that they can enjoy a lot of the menu and what to steer clear of. Thanks so much for coming in. Yeah, so I'll get into that in a minute. There's also a copy of the receipt, which shows that, like, we were still charged for everything.
Wow.
Even though, yeah. Also, a copy of the menu where it says that the churros are clearly marked vegan. And, yeah, just a screenshot, I guess, of the, yeah, I think this is me, or maybe, no, this is James. Screenshot of just where it says that it's a plant-based Mexican pop-up in Venice. Yeah.
It literally says De Buena Planta
is
a
a plant-based
Mexican
yeah,
pop-up.
Exactly. Yep. That's what it says. So also just like as a side note, because when I first read the review, I was like, all right, I'm not vegan. So like is plant-based being vegetarian? Like I was like struggling with that. So I wanted to just Google what is plant-based? Like what is the universal acceptance of plant-based? And I just want to say laziness upon laziness. The person that responded that I just read, like after seeing, like, talking about plant forward and all that stuff, they literally copied and pasted it from Google.
The definition?
Like if you go on Google and you Google what is plant-based and like you know how that gives you questions and you go to the first answer,
Yeah.
that's literally the first answer and the person just copied and pasted it into
Wait,
the thing.
does that include the sentence that says it doesn't mean you're vegetarian or vegan or never eat meat or dairy?
Yes, I think it does. Like I think like literally the whole thing is just like it's like that was like the leg that they're standing on. But then I just like, again, just to do my due diligence, because I knew we were going to be talking about it, I like asked a bunch of friends, vegan and non-vegan. I was just like, just polling the audience. If I said to you, hey, do you want to go to a plant-based restaurant with me this week? Would you assume that that is vegetarian, vegan? What would like be the assumption there? And across the board, everybody said that they would have assumed it was vegan.
Well, right,
Yeah.
because if you're vegan, you don't eat anything derivative of an animal, right? So it would have to be a plant.
Right. Yeah, I know. I guess it was like, I was thinking plant-based, like, okay, if the base of the item is plant, like, I don't know. I was looking for a technicality because I don't know. I was trying to figure out if I could defend the restaurant at all here, but I don't think that I can, because I think that plant-based has now become analogous with vegan. They're like synonyms.
Okay. I have a lot to
Please
say
talk.
about this. You know, I think it's interesting to note I have worked as a waiter.
Yes.
And like one of the highest priorities as a server is allergy.
Right.
Like you have to be able to know from the tippy top if someone says they have an allergy, all of the ingredients in the meals. Like that's like unforgivable to not be able to have to run. Like sure, if you have to check with the kitchen, whatever, but it seems like this restaurant is consistently faltering in the responsibility. Like this is a very long review, but multiple times I think James says 3 or 4 times, like, I wanted to give it 4 stars. This would be one of the best, competing with all the major ones in LA. This could have been really great. So I appreciate that James is honoring, like, it is great. They're just lying. Like,
right.
Or they don't understand to me, I think it's unforgivable. How can you say you're vegan and not be vegan? I don't understand. Also, the most disgusting idea to me is having cheese and guacamole. What the fuck?
I know. Well, that's the thing that's like so egregious to me about this review is like, okay, I can almost wrap my head around like an item that would normally have cheese in it that says cheese in the menu, even though it's like common vernacular now that like, you know, cheese isn't cheese and all this stuff. Like I can almost excuse that because there was items in the menu that like had a V and had a different, like there were like different things, but to put dairy in an item that definitely does not require dairy and calling your restaurant plant-based is crazy. Like
that's criminal.
It's insane. It's criminal. It's like, why there is zero there's zero reason to put cheese in guac.
No, it's so gross sounding.
Like, you don't need the cheese on the guac. Like, you just don't. And especially if it's the cotija cheese, like, that's almost like a garnish. So it feels even more unnecessary. Like, throw some pepitas on there. Like, give me, like, something else. Like, there's, like, you can find something else to be a garnish if you're going to try and be plant. It's just, like, so gross. It just reeks of, like, capitalizing on a market, being like, we're in Venice, we want to be a trendy new restaurant, so we're going to say that we're plant-based, and just call yourself a vegetarian restaurant.
But it doesn't make sense to me, like, because like you can't masquerade, is the word James uses. You can't masquerade here because literally day 2 of your business being open, people are going to be sick and they're going to be able to deduce that like what they ate at your restaurant doesn't go with their lifestyle. Like, I don't understand how they like, it's only going to cause you trouble.
I just think it's so irresponsible and dangerous. Like, if you're going to do this and call yourself plant-based, then you better have that Google definition and you better highlight, like, this doesn't mean that you're vegetarian or whatever. upon entry. Like you need to be forward with what you're doing. And the fact that they had an item on the menu that like was vegan changed to not vegan, and then they were still not updating the menu to let people know, and they were just ordering it thinking, I mean, that is like so gross. That is sort of encapsulating the feeling that I have about organic food. Like I buy all organic food and I'm like waiting for the shoe to drop where they're like, guess what? The organic food is really worse than the regular. You know, like that's like that feeling of like, am I buying something under false pretense? Like I'm being told that this item is vegan. I'm being told that this restaurant is plant-based. And then you're shoving all this stuff into it. Though the pus line was a little...
Okay, I have a question. Yeah, I definitely need to know what cow pus is. I'm also curious by the thing... Plant-based drinks. What is a plant-based drink, do you think? Like, is that like a mojito? Like, because that's mint and that's a plant. And like,
where did it say that? But
isn't like, towards the beginning, before James accidentally overheard the other waiter mentioning, it just made me question like, oh, what's a plant-based drink? I'm curious about that. You know that like, wait, to your point previously,
yeah,
the restaurant is named The Good Plant.
Exactly. Which is like irony upon irony.
The most offensive title if you're going to be shady.
Exactly.
It literally blows my mind. I think the value here is like, if the whole reply that you read from that like picture, like it doesn't mean that you're vegetarian or vegan and never eat meat or dairy. Feels like a slap in the like, why would you take that approach if you're called The Good Plant? If you are presenting yourself as a plant-based, plant-forward, why would you not have like 8 million symbols after every single item on the menu if you're going to be able to have options? It seems like the opposite approach, rather than being like, oh well, we have plant options. It seems like you would actually be plants with an option to be not plant-based.
Exactly.
But why?
It's like a vegan.
Why would
you should call
that?
yourself a vegan-friendly restaurant, and like, you know, we're a vegetarian vegan-friendly restaurant or something like that, where it's like, and our items can be adapted. Please be clear, because there are a lot of vegan-friendly restaurants that I've gone to where it's like, it'll be vegetarian, it'll be whatever, but then it'll clearly have like marked like, if you want this item vegan, like you can let us in and just let us know. Also,
I love the phrase flagrant egg use.
Yes, me too. Also, I'm looking at the menu that James posted, and what's very interesting, speaking of like the weird confusion over like what is what. So by the churros, it has capital V in parentheses next to it. Then by the tres leches, it says the word vegan. And then by the Mexican flourless cake, it has a V in parentheses and an N in parentheses. What the hell does that mean? Does that mean that V really, when it's in parentheses, means vegan? Or sorry, does it mean that when V is in parentheses, it means vegetarian? And then it's only vegan if they actually spell vegan? Because that's even more insane. Because
okay, wait.
Yeah, I'm confused.
I have like a higher question. Yeah. When did this restaurant open?
I want to say
does James say?
James does not. Let me say.
Because it does seem to me like they don't know what they're doing.
James mentions that it's a new restaurant, and he wrote it in. I think he said it's a new restaurant, and he wrote it, like a week ago, actually. So.
Because I'm curious about that. I don't know. I think, like, obviously, like, the joke that we don't want to walk into is, like, how do you know someone's vegan? They're going to tell you. Like,
right.
That stereotype exists because you have to be very meticulous about what you're putting in your body if you're being meticulous about what you're putting in your body. So how could you masquerade as a restaurant that's just, like, being very careless? I think I do trust James in the review.
Yeah.
Especially because they go into such lengthy detail, and they mention multiple times in the real estate of this review, this has the potential to compete with Crossroads, that excellent movie by Britney Spears. No. Also, Veggie Grill. I love Veggie Grill. I wish we had Veggie Grills on the East Coast. And also, like, James alludes that after being here, they looked at all these other not so great reviews, which makes me think, oh, okay, more context here,
right?
More allegiance with James' experience. That the restaurant has to, like, you can't just copy and paste on Google. Like,
yeah, I know
something is very wrong here, which is highlighted by the other picture with the vegan versus a V. Like, I mean, I think this is having a large impact on me. I'm not even plant-based, but if I was, I would. This would be like,
very
upsetting. It does seem criminal. You can't mess with people's digestion.
No.
Like, if someone doesn't eat cheese and then they don't know there's cheese in the Caesar salad and they're eating it, they're going to get sick. Like, that's what I don't understand the end game here.
I just think it's all marketing and it's gross. And even on the receipt itself, like, it clearly says plant-based. Like, even on it's running.
Their branding.
It is their branding.
Yeah. It's literally the title.
Spelling and grammar.
What's the spelling grammar
we
like?
had a few mistakes peppered in there. It's Gracias Madre, not Gracias Madra. And there were a couple other like little errors. Considering how long the review was, not like a ton, but I can't give James a perfect score on spelling.
You know
and
what's
grammar.
interesting to me? I feel like there was humor sprinkled in here,
yeah.
Even though, like, I don't think the subject matter is humorous at all. Like, I think they need to really be held to task, this restaurant.
Yeah.
But I appreciated, like, flagrant egg use and, like, accidentally overheard.
Right.
What does JFC stand for?
Jesus effing Christ.
Oh. How did you know that?
I don't know, says the Jew. I just, that's
also,
what I think it meant.
Wait. Because it says JFC and then no good, right? Do you think that was a typo, or is it like was it not good or no good?
I think that might have also been a typo.
Oh, because that was really funny to me to just be like no good.
Yeah, this is.
Ultimately,
this is absolute no. This is absolute no okay. I think it was just supposed to be
no okay.
Absolutely not okay.
But that's kind of funny to
okay.
me. Like, that could be like a lexicon of a teenager.
Sure, maybe.
Ultimately, here, I think the impact deal breaker for me is one of the concluding statements in the review is you cannot write that you're vegan if you're not.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I feel like I could crown this. Anything else? How are you feeling?
I think I can crown James. I feel pretty confident.
All right. So Chelsey and I each have our own set of 0 to 5 crown cards. And in an effort to be fair and not influenced by one another, we will simultaneously reveal our rating.
The queens are tabulating. Total score.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm holding up 4 crowns. Trey is holding up 4.5 crowns. Trey, you go first. Why 4.5 for James?
Well, I really was conflicted here. I kind of wanted to do 5 crowns. The reason I didn't do 5 crowns, I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know. Now I'm feeling like maybe I should have done 5 crowns. I think that this is reeking with a lot of value. I think maybe the length would maybe keep me from reading it.
Right.
But the reason I'm on the fence about 5 crowns is because the due diligence of the images that they included, I think, stands alone. Anytime you're on Yelp and someone includes images, I think like the algorithm pushes it to the top. I don't know, it stands out.
Yes.
I think James is coming in hot to protect everyone in their community.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it wasn't a full slanderous review to something that I think deserves to be slandered, because they said the potential here is so phenomenal. You know what? I want to change it. I'm going to change it to 5 crowns.
A live change on the air?
I do think that it is a review queen because even though there were some typos here or whatever, it's like, I think that the impact for me as someone who isn't plant-based, I'm mad.
Yeah.
Like, I want to defend the plant-based people and like pick at the restaurant and be like, do not go here. You're going to injure your body. So and there were sprinkled in humor, you know, it's like, I definitely think it's common. They reference the other negative reviews. Like, you could read this one review and get the point, which I think is queenly. So that's why I said 5 crowns after originally saying 4.5, because I convinced myself in talking. Chelsey, why did you say 4?
I said 4 crowns. I loved that James was so thorough. And you know that I love when we have a negative review and they're not just completely slanderous. Like, whenever I read a negative review and they're still complimenting what is good about the restaurant, it makes me believe the reviewer more. So
Correct.
that was hugely valuable. I took away a crown for spelling and grammar. It's got to be perfect for me. And a little bit of the length. Those were the two things that kept me from making this a review queen. But I will say, like, kudos to James for standing up and saying this. And I really do hope that the people that own this restaurant read this and change it to vegetarian. Just say you're vegetarian. Just say you're vegan friendly. Like, that's it. That's all you have to do. And then you will have people that are vegan and are stringent about their diet or have allergies. You'll just have them on alert. It is wrong to not have someone on high
Agreed.
alert when they have dietary restrictions. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it. And I hope that they do something to change it. And James has made me impassioned about that plea. So 4 crowns for you, James.
I hear that. Do you want to go get some cow puss?
Is someone at the door? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Surprise, surprise.
Wait. This is new. Should we see who's behind door number 1?
Yes. Who is at the door, please?
The reviewer is here.
Surprise!
Surprise.
Oh my God. Wait, it's James. This is our James, and he's been here the whole time.
Hi, James.
I snuck in the back door, and then I ripped right around the front and rang the doorbell.
I mean,
Thank you for your
yes.
being
To
polite.
be
Thank
fair,
you.
when we said it was James, audience, like, you should have been tipped off because you know that if your name is James, you listen to this podcast.
So, James, we have you here, and you are a listener of the show. You've been very supportive, which we love. And we just reviewed you in your review. So, talk us through. What was that like?
I mean, I'm kind of shaking because it was intense. It was definitely intense.
Baby, it's time.